Part of being a billionaire is realizing that a big flex isn't a watch or a new car, it's either a yacht or a private jet. When you have enough money to buy a private jet, you more than likely have enough money to trick it out like this Saudi prince did. From solid gold toilets to a literal throne for a king, welcome to Pimp My Jets here at Top 5 Central, where today we count down the 10 most expensive private jets in the world. Like this video right now and subscribe to get your very own private jet. The Gulfstream 5 is one of the highest performance and safety-intensive private jets on the planet and has set Jim Carrey, who owns the jet, back an estimated $43 million. The aircraft was developed in the early 90s as a strike against a rival plane called the Bombardier Global Express. It was eventually released in 1997 with some incredible features. The plane is capable of flying up to 6,500 nautical miles and is classified as Gulfstream's first ultra-long range business jet. The plane is capable of accommodating 4 crew members and a further 14 passengers in its high-end tan luxurious leather chairs and is frequently used by not just Jim Carrey, but the US military as well. But when Jim Carrey or a US Army general gets hungry, they can feel comfortable knowing they can eat pretty much whatever they want right at their seat, with a table being located right there. And if they eat too much and need to nap it off, hey, hit that couch. Gulfstream 5 usually cruises at just below Mach 1, around 636 miles per hour, but it could also push a little bit further to 675 miles per hour if necessary. The Gulfstream 5 is one of the rarest private jets that you could own. There are only 193 of the airplanes in the world, and most of them are in use by military powers all over the world. Though it was said that one of the planes was given to Steve Jobs as compensation from Apple back in 2000. The interior of the Embraer Lineage 1000 is one of the most beautiful interiors you'll see on private jets. Jets like these aren't meant to stuff as many people on like you see on normal planes. More so, it's to make its occupants as comfortable and relaxed as possible as they fly around the world, adding more billions to their fortune. This luxury plane is divided up into 5 separate sections. The passenger area features incredibly comfortable leather chairs, tables that raise up from the ground and automatically unfold, and most important, a couch you can nap on if you want. I don't see why you do that though, because in one of the other compartments, there's a complete master bedroom which features a working walk-in shower and a huge bed. For the most part, the Embraer Lineage 1000 is based on a passenger jet, the Embraer 190. The only real difference in the actual specs of the plane are in its fuel tanks. Like, part of the lower deck cargo hold space has been sacrificed for an additional set of fuel tanks that have almost doubled the Lineage 1000's range when compared with the 190. To put that into perspective, to go from Minnesota to Alabama is 1,000 miles, so it could do it back and forth twice and still have 1,000 miles left to go. The plane can also reach a maximum speed of 629 miles per hour, but usually cruises at a slower 543 miles per hour for fuel reasons. There are currently 4 operators across the world that allow you to temporarily charter one of these giant luxury private jets. Al Jaber Aviation, a business jet airline based in Abu Dhabi, AirX Charter, which operates across the world, Royal Jet, which is also based in Abu Dhabi, and then Falcon Aviation Services, which once again is based in Abu Dhabi. The most notable usage of this airplane, however, is probably in Brazil. The Brazilian Air Force owned 2 Embraer Lineage 1000s, and they use them as secondary presidential aircraft in situations where their primary is unavailable for use. If you wanted to buy one of these aircraft outright instead of chartering one or becoming Prime Minister of Brazil, you'd have to drop around $53 million. These days, when Donald Trump takes to the skies, he's probably flying around in the world-famous Air Force One. That tends to be the mode of air-based transport for an American president. But even before he sat in the big chair in the White House's Oval Office, he was well known for his expensive taste in private jets, which most people know by the name Trump Force One. Donald Trump is a man with homes across the entire planet. Obviously, he would want to get to these homes in style, but a $100 million private jet might be considered overkill by some. His luxury private jet has room for 43 passengers if he wanted to fly with max capacity and could reach speeds of over 500 miles an hour. The main lounge of the aircraft has a set of sofas and a 57-inch TV. It's basically a flying movie theater with access to thousands of films on demand. Trump even has a special favorite movies list installed on the touchscreen display, which could be accessed by clicking on the special T button. There's a guest bedroom literally made entirely from wood, and his own master bedroom has been described as having yards of gold silk lining the walls. The plane even has a fully equipped bathroom with marble finishes and a 24-karat gold sink and a walk-in standalone shower. Just in case Donald Trump has to entertain guests, there's even a special VIP area that only the most important of people can enter.
When I get on this aircraft is look around for details. I always study the details.
It's not often that a businessman becomes famous, but when you're as successful as Mark Cuban, it's impossible to stay out of the limelight. If you recognize the name, it's probably because Cuban is the owner of the NBA's Dallas Mavericks and one of the main sharks from the TV show Shark Tank. Mark Cuban's private jet is a Boeing 767-277. The 767 line of Boeings are mid to large sized jet airliners that are primarily known as being Boeing's first set of wide-body twin-jet planes. The 200 range of Boeings were the original models and first entered service with United Airlines in 1982. They've primarily been used for domestic routes across the states, and to this day there are still 52 passenger and freighter conversions of the model in service. Mark Cuban likes his expensive toys. He also owns a massive fountainhead yacht, so a plane like the Boeing 767-277 is definitely on brand for the entrepreneur. It seems like the main reason he bought the plane was to use it as transport for the Dallas Mavericks when he wanted to fly them around. After he bought the Boeing, he had it refitted with a custom set of seats, deliberately focused on being more comfortable for the team's tallest players. All of that cost him over $144 million. Tyler Perry made his name through acting, writing plays, making films, and more importantly than any of that, by making people laugh. In 2011, Forbes listed him as the highest paid man in all of entertainment, bringing in $130 million between May 2010 and May 2011. He owns an entire island called the White Bay Cay and the Exuma Strip of the islands that can be found in the Bahamas, and he's planning to develop it with a massive house, bungalows, a spa, a tennis court, and a marina. But he's gonna need a way to get to his private island and back to the rest of civilization, which is fine considering he also owns a Gulfstream 3 jet. The Gulfstream 3 was built in the States and is an improvement on the previous Gulfstream 2 design. 202 of the planes were built between 1979 and 1986, making them a highly exclusive item. The Gulfstream 3 is capable of carrying 19 passengers with its standard seating layout and can reach a max speed of 576 miles per hour, though it usually cruises at like a slower 508 miles an hour. Tyler Perry has altered his Gulfstream quite a bit from the usual. There's a gigantic 42-inch HD TV, a load of Blu-ray players, constantly connected satellite TV, theater lighting, and even electronically controlled window shades. There's docking stations for phones to play music throughout the plane, and a giant couch lining one area of the seating. It feels more like someone's living room than a plane, and all of this costed Tyler Perry an eye-watering $125 million. If you know the name John Travolta, there's a 99% chance that you know him from movies like Saturday Night Fever, Grease, or Pulp Fiction. He was a well-known actor in the 70s and 90s, and though he's been through many ups and downs in his career, we'll probably all remember him as Danny Zuko from 1978's Grease. John Travolta is rumored to own several planes. Some speculate that he owns 6, while others speculate he owns as many as 11, though currently the official line is that he owns 4 aircraft. This is because John Travolta is actually a trained private pilot and enjoys actually flying his planes instead of just sitting in the lap of luxury while someone else flies it for him. The most impressive aircraft from John Travolta's collection was his Qantas Boeing 707-138B. 865 of these aircraft were produced between 1957 and 1979, and they were still in use for commercial flights right up until 2019. The cruising speed of a 707 was a blistering 607 miles per hour, allowing for quick and easy trips for large numbers of people. Since the 707 series of planes are no longer in use, Travolta has donated his to the Historical Aircraft Restoration Society in Australia. It'll be repaired here to ensure it's in safe flying conditions. The reason Travolta's 707 is of such significance is because it still has the old Qantas design, a company that Travolta acted as a goodwill ambassador for whenever he flew. It is estimated Travolta's Boeing cost him somewhere between $50 million to $150 million.
That's all from us, so sit back and enjoy the journey.
The Boeing 747-8 VIP is beyond the lap of luxury. It takes luxury air travel to entirely new levels. In fact, it's basically a flying palace. After Donald Trump turned a Boeing 757-200 into his luxury flying Trump Force One, Boeing began to realize there was a new untapped market beginning to form. A market where people have far too much money to spend, and so they start building VIP versions of their normal airliners. One of these is the Boeing 747-8 VIP, which costs at least an estimated $200 million. This plane is the longest and second largest airliner ever built. It's powered by 4 engines and can fly for 8,000 miles without stopping. One day, it'll replace the current plane that is used by the American president as Air Force One. Everything in this plane is custom built to the buyer's demands using only the best and most high quality material. That goes from cabinets to couches and even hanging chandeliers. This thing is less a business jet and more a flying hotel, complete with bars, bathrooms, showers, and even king-size beds. That doesn't even begin to touch the conference room and office, just in case you actually want to get some work done while you're soaring through the air in your mobile castle. The plane looks massive from the outside, and it's even more excessive when you walk through its many rooms. The Boeing business jet line is a set of 6 planes that were created as variants of standard jetliners for the corporate jet market. They're based off of the 737 series of airliners and have the potential to usually seat between 25 to 30 people in its luxury configurations. The 737 business jet is capable of flying for over 6,000 nautical miles if it has 9 tanks installed, though most only have 5 fuel tanks and only make it 5,400 nautical miles instead. The first variant was the BBJ, and it was based off the 737-700 and was mainly used in the United States Navy, where it was known as the C-40B Clipper. When they were first brought out in the 90s, they were operated by many Fortune 100 companies like Aramco or Trescinda, as well as casinos like the Las Vegas Sands. Well, 2008 hit, which put the world in a global recession, and large jets like the business jets from Boeing started to look a lot less attractive all of a sudden. Most BBJs are now owned by private firms and individuals, with notable names like Steven Spielberg being owners. But the BBJs are mostly owned and operated by governments for VIP transport. 19 countries own and operate at least one BBJ in their air forces or for government VIP flights. Each one would have to cost their owners between $250 and $300 million. The Airbus ACJ320neo prides itself on its size, claiming to be twice as wide as a traditional high-end business jet while still maintaining the same length and wingspan on the outside. The plane can fly 25 passengers a total of 6,000 nautical miles. That's more than 13 hours non-stop. In other words, this plane could take you almost anywhere in the world without needing to stop for fuel. The interior of the plane is completely customizable, allowing you to decide exactly how you want the interior of your Neo to look. The standard layout includes a massive master bedroom, luxurious couches to sit on, and a conference room. The 320neo is actually a relatively new airplane. Its first flight was on November 16, 2018. In fact, the plane is so new that it was only certified by the EASA on the 9th of July, 2019, meaning this plane is set to have the most recent and top-of-the-line features. Of course, if you want to fly with that kind of luxury, it's going to set you back an estimated $500 million. The Airbus A380 has been dubbed the king of private jets and has been the #1 luxury plane for VIP buyers across the world for some time. In 2007, when the Saudi Prince Al Walid bin Talal bought one of these planes, it was estimated that the cost of the plane could have been up to $500 million, though the actual cost of his customizations were never revealed because the 2008 financial real estate collapse wiped out his shares in Citibank. So he purchased the plane with the interior unfinished before selling it to the King of Saudi Arabia. The A380 is the biggest passenger jet in the world, and just keeping it running costs a small fortune. Every hour of operating time is equivalent to $29,000. 1 hour. $17,000 of that is the cost of the jet fuel that keeps the plane flying, and these vehicles are meant for long distance flights that could last for over 10 hours. There have been many proposed ideas of what rich people could do with the space on their planes. Some designs have included 7-star luxury suites, entertainment areas, swimming pools, putting greens and even tennis courts. Not joking, some design ideas haven't even had luxury vehicle driving ranges on the lower decks or even small zoos with exotic caged animals. When the Saudi prince was designing his version of the A380, he had planned to have like a full luxury Turkish-style spa on board and a gigantic prayer room in which the prayer mats would turn automatically to face toward Mecca even when flying through the air. The A380 is truly the king of all luxury airliners, a title that any other planes in the future will find hard to claim. Check out more luxurious airplane videos by clicking on screen right now to watch the 10 most luxurious airplane seats of all time.